Okay, good morning Year 1, Friday morning maths. Now today what we're going to do is we're going to use what we have learnt this week on multiplication and division and how to solve multiplication and division calculations, okay? I'm going to use what we've learnt and I want you to show me in your workings that you have thought about what we have been learning this week. Okay, so today we are going to be looking at word problems, and it's really important that we look at word problems quite often because they are much more tricky than just a written calculation, because you have to read it, you have to think about what it's asking you to do, and then you have to solve it. So it's quite tricky. Okay, there's lots involved in the process of a word problem. So this is a word problem, okay? It's when the calculation is written within words, okay? And then you have to solve what that problem, the answer, to that problem, okay? Now, the important thing that I will always say to you about word problems is always read them more than once. Don't just read them once because you might miss some information. Okay, so always read them more than once. So I always read it first, all the way through. Okay, so let's do that together first. There are 4 fish tanks. Okay, each fish tank has 3 fish in. How many fish are there altogether? Okay, then I will read it again, but as I'm reading, I will either underline or circle the bits that I might need to solve this word problem. Okay, so the important thing to remember is with word problems, it usually has numbers in it. Those you need. Okay, so if we look again, if we read it again, there are 4. Oh, look, there's a number. I'm going to need that, so I'm going to circle it. Okay, I know I'm going to need it. So there are 4 fish tanks. Each fish tank has 3. Oh, look, another number. I'm going to need that, so I'm going to circle it or underline it. Okay, so each fish tank has 3 fish in. How many fish are there altogether? Now, I'm also going to circle this last word. Does anybody know why? Why do you think I've circled that last word, altogether? Good. It's a really, really big clue, that word. If you see the word altogether, you know straight away that it's going to either be an addition or a multiplication calculation. Okay? Now, we know, if we look at it again, that there are 4 fish tanks. So I'm going to write that number down. There's 4 fish tanks. Okay? Each, that's another important word there. Each fish tank has 3 fish in it. So I know I'm not going to be adding, because 4 add 3 wouldn't work, would it? Because if you think about it, if you draw it out, there's your 4 fish tanks, and it's fine to draw it out. There's your 4 fish tanks, okay, and each one, I'm just going to do circles so you imagine they're fish. Each one has 3 fish in it, okay, so 4 add 3, would that work? No. So we know when we look at this, we've got 4, look, 1, 2, 3, 4 lots of 3. Okay, and remember, lots of is the same as times. It would be really good to see you drawing it out, because actually that shows me that you understand. Okay, can you see how I've drawn it out? I thought, okay, I've got 4 fish tanks, so I've drawn my 4 fish tanks, and each one has got 3 in. And then I can see straight away that I need 2 times, because I've got 4 lots of 3. Okay, so we're doing 4 times 3. And now because I've drawn it out, okay, I don't need to do an array or repeated addition. This is kind of like an array. Okay, if you wanted to do it that way, you could have said at the beginning, okay, I have 4 fish tanks. Okay, that's your 4 fish tanks. I'm just going to move this one along a bit so it makes it a bit easier to show you. Okay, so I've got 4 fish tanks and each one has 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 fish in. Okay, and that would show you exactly the same as this picture one. Okay, but this is an array like I have taught you. They're really different ways of doing an array. Okay, so here if we count, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, okay, 10, 12. Let's check with here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, so we know our answer is 12. Okay, so with the word problem, remember, we read it twice. First time we just read it through. Second time, we circled or underlined the bits of information that we might need to help us solve the calculation. Okay, then we wrote down what the calculation was, and actually to make it easier to write down the calculation, we worked it out with pictures first. Okay, and once we had written down the calculation or done the pictures, then we worked out the answer. Okay, let's look at another one together on the other side of my board. Okay, what's the first thing we always do? Read it twice at least. So this time there are 7 apple trees. Each apple tree has 3 apples on it. How many apples are there altogether? Okay, so we're going to read it again. Let's circle the important information. See if you can tell the adult with you what I need to circle as we're reading. Okay, there are 7 apples. Anybody notice? Good. There's a number here. We're going to need that for our calculation. Okay. There are 7 apple trees. Each, again, remember, each, that helps us to know part of the calculation. Each apple tree has 3 apples on it. Did you notice anything that we might need? Good. We need the number 3. That's going to be part of our calculation. Okay. How many apples are there altogether? Is there another word there that might help us? Good. Altogether, because what does that tell us? Excellent. It's either going to be addition or multiplication. Okay, so now it's easier if we draw them out, and it's up to you whether you do it as an array or whether you pretend you've got apple trees. Okay, I'm going to do it as an array. So we've got 7 apple trees. So I'm going to go 1 apple tree, 2 apple trees, 3 apple trees, 4 apple trees, 5 apple trees, 6 apple trees, 7 apple trees. So I've got my 7 apple trees, okay? How many apples on each tree? 3. So I need to make sure each tree has 3 apples. So we've got 1 apple, 2 apple, 3 apple, 1 apple, 2 apple, 3 apple, 1 apple, 2 apples, 3 apples, 1 apple, 2 apples, 3 apples, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There's our array, which is one of the ways I showed you. Straight away now, we know what the calculation is going to be. Because we had to use an array, it must be multiplying, it must be timesing. So we know we've got 7 apple trees and each apple tree has 3 apples on it. So we've done 7 times by 3. 7 multiplied by 3. 7 lots of 3. Okay, now we can work out our answer that we've got that. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. 16, 18, 20, and then I've got 1 left over, 21. So our answer is 21. Okay, let's look at one more together. Okay, this time I'm going to have to write it out. So we have got, let's see, right, so Tom has 15 sweets. Okay, he shares them Okay, here's the calculation, okay? Or here's the word problem, sorry. So, read it. Remember, read it more than once. So the first one, Tom has 15 sweets. He shares them between 3 people. How many do they have each? Okay, now again, read again. This time, we're circling or underlining the important bits of information. Tom has 15 sweets. Did you notice anything? Good, there's a number. We need that. Okay. He shares them between 3 people. Did you notice anything? Good. Another number. We're going to need it. Okay. There's another word there that tells me something. Does anybody think they might know what it is? Have a think. Good. The word shares. What does that tell me? If I've got the word shares, what does that tell me? Good. Tells me it's going to be a division because they're sharing. And remember, on Wednesday when we looked at division, we looked at it as sharing. Okay, so the word shares tells me it's going to be a division. Okay, so shares them between 3 people. How many do they have each? Okay, so those words help me. Now I know I've got to do a division. Remember, think about the ways I've shown you how to do the division. Find the biggest number. That's 15, yes, because 15 is bigger than 3. So I know I'm going to have 15 sweets, yeah, and I'm sharing it between how many people? 3. So I'm going to be sharing between 3. Okay, it's my calculation. Now remember, to work it out, it's probably easier to do the grouping. Okay, so remember, that means we need to draw out the 15 sweets. Don't have to draw sweets. You can just do lines or circles. So we could do those out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's my 15 sweets. And I'm going to share them between 3 people. Okay, so ready? That means I've got to have 3, remember, in each group. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Then remember, to find the answer, we look at how many groups we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 groups, that's our answer. Okay, so 15 divided by 3 equals 5. 15 shared between 3 equals 5. Okay, now today you have in your folder for today, you've got 3 worksheets. There's 2 multiplication word problem worksheets and there is 1 division problem solving worksheet. Okay, I would like you to do those. Then on my explanation for today, I'm going to add a couple of extra word problems. They will be a mixture. So you've got to work out what calculation you need to use. Do you need to do multiplication or do you need to do division? Okay, that is a little bit of a challenge, but it's really important that you understand how to work out word problems. Okay, year one, have a lovely weekend and a lovely half term. And hopefully I might see you after half term. Take care of yourself. Bye, year one.